Hello Internet, and welcome to the Collective Arcana. We're a channel all about tabletop gaming, and today we're going to take a small break from our videos detailing the core classes for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and we're actually going to talk about something that is pertinent to that series. This is going to be another little divergence like the one we did on spellcasting in 2e. We're about to do Ranger, and it felt strange to not cover animal companions. Just because they can, might be a little tricky, or you just might have some questions about them. Base animal companions come in types, and there are several. There are bears, birds, badgers, and some that don't even start with the letter B, scorpions, cats, sharks even, thanks to the APG. So there are plenty of options for what you're going for. Now, each of these types, too many to list, way too many, but they're going to have set-based statistics. They're also going to have, set movement speed, size, types of attacks that they can use. They're going to have special senses or abilities even outside of those, as well as what they call different support benefits. And that's just something that all animal companions, if you give them the support action, they can do various things. It varies quite a bit. Most of them are things that if you land an attack on the target while the animal companion is adjacent to that target, then you will get some additional benefit, either extra damage, it might create hindering terrain. There's, again, way too much to go into the individual animal companions. Definitely check them out. One thing to note with the different types of animal companions, though, is you can absolutely homebrew those quite a bit. So, just for example, I was considering, we had found a baby wyvern, and I was considering on my barbarian character picking it up as an animal companion and maybe going a multi-class ranger route. I wound up deciding against it, but what I was going to propose to my buddy who's running the game, my GM, was to use a vulture so that it can fly, and then the vulture has a vomit ability that can sicken people, and I wanted to just reflavor that as a part of its support. I just wanted to reflavor that as the wyvern's sting. So, even if the exact creature you want isn't there, it's pretty easy to just squint your eyes or look away and find a similar creature that is close enough. So, with that said, what exactly, are you getting with an animal companion besides those base statistics that the animal have? So so in addition to the pure stats of the creature, they also are going to be trained in unarmed attacks, unarmed defenses, barding, which is special animal armor, as well as all saves, perception, acrobatics, and athletics. They cannot use abilities that would require greater intelligence, even if they have the skill prerequisites to use them, such as coerce or decipher language, or decipher writing, rather. As always, specific will trump general, so if a specific ability, specialization says, and your animal companion can intimidate, then it can. It's just, generally speaking, they cannot, unless it's specifically called out somewhere. Your animal companions gets a certain number of hit points based on its type. Birds are typically 4, larger creatures like bear are up to 8, and that's the range, 4 to 8. I don't think I've seen anything higher. But they also will gain 6 plus their constitution modifier HP per level. And that's one thing to note right out of the get-go, is they don't technically have their own level, but they will use yours for everything. So from their proficiency bonuses to their HP, things of that nature, that they're going to go off of your level. So, so that's the basics. If you would, want to invest heavily in an animal companion, you can, but those base animal companions, at least especially at lower levels, are going to be fine. They may not be powerhouses in the party, but they're never probably going to be. But even at those low levels, they're going to have, even at just this base version, if you invest no further in your animal companion, you're going to have a viable flanking buddy, you're going to have something that can get those support actions off, and you're just going to have an additional body on the field, which can help spread out enemy aggression and things like that. So, and also, you know, just help watch your back to prevent you from being flanked potentially. So, you know, so even without further investment, even if those numbers don't scale as well as, you know, other classes, it's still a very viable tool to have in your toolbox, and it's, you know, a lot of fun to role play and, you know, have like a party mascot is often what will generally happen with an animal companion. Look at like Trinket on Critical Role. So, you know, so it's good. But you do have the option to invest further and invest in that animal companion to get it stronger and stronger. The first opportunity you'll have will be to increase it to a mature animal companion. This is something, when I'm talking about these feats, just gaining an animal companion, right now the only ones that get them by default are Ranger and Druid, but there are a couple of archetypes that also get access to them, and then of course anyone can multi-class as well. So, you know, it's not impossible for everybody in the party to have an animal companion, even if they're different base classes. So, but specifically, you know, when I'm talking about these, I'm going to be talking about them mostly not from those Stranger archetype options, but just directly from Druid and especially Ranger. Now, so an advanced animal companion will generally go up a size category if it's medium or smaller in size. So it'll go up to large once it becomes a mature. If it's only small, it'll go up to medium, and so on. It's also going to increase its strength, dex, con, and wisdom by 1. Those are modifiers. That's an important thing to note. Animal companions don't have ability scores, they only have ability modifiers. So if I say something and I'm like, oh, it gets a +1, you know, don't worry, that's a valid boost. They'll also add an additional die to their unarmed attacks, and they're going to become trained in stealth, intimidate, survival, or expert if they were already trained. For example, cats are naturally trained in stealth, so when it goes to mature, that would automatically progress up to expert. So, you know, we got a big, wide bunch of choices at level 1 when we were first choosing our animal companion, although I guess not technically level 1, doesn't have to be. But when you're selecting your animal companion, you feel like you have this huge, wide choice, and then after that, oh, you can just, it's mature. It's a little boring. Luckily, we're going to start getting a little more control now when you go up to an advanced animal companion. You're going to actually get to choose from a few options, and they're adding more all the time. And these are sort of like templates that you add on top. And they can be pretty drastically different. You're going to have the base and the core in the player's handbook or the core rulebook rather, is Nimble, which is a very defensive, sort of avoidance-based animal companion. Good for your less durable types of animal companion, the ones that, you know, you're not wanting to be in the fray. And then you're going to also be able to choose from Savage, and that's much more aggressive type of an animal companion, much more focused on helping you fight, whereas the other one might be more of a harrier utility type of assistant. In addition to the options presented in the core rulebook, the World Guide did add Indomitable. It specifically says that it's for megafauna creatures, intending, it seems like, just dinosaurs. For me, in my table, I would say that a cave bear is considered megafauna in the real world, so it should qualify. So as long as the idea is that your animal is going to get very big and be, you know, just a megafauna, big monster, then you should be able to get away with it. I'm not sure what Pathfinder Society rules are on that. I don't really play Pathfinder Society. I like a little more freeform in my game. But that's me. But so I would say that definitely should be a little more open. Now the next one is the Genie Touched, and that one's especially fun because it can add an elemental flair to your animal companion. So you can choose between fire, air, earth, and water, and you're going to get some thematic abilities based on that. And It's pretty fun. Some elemental damage is never bad. In Pathfinder 2nd Edition, you're triggering resistant or weaknesses and things like that, and potentially really upping that damage amount. So it's definitely fun there. Finally, it opens up really wide, and you get to pick a specialization for your animal companion. There's a big list. I'm just going to rattle them off here. Most of them do pretty much what you expect. They're all just like the 4 advanced options. They're really just upping certain thematic choices for skills and saves and things like that. Well, not saves. No, sometimes saves. But skills and checks and things like that. That list is going to be Ambusher, Bully, Daredevil, Racer, Tracker, and Wrecker. But the Genie Touched also each got 1 advanced option. So all of these, your animal companion will gain master proficiency in saves, an expert unarmed attack. They will increase their unarmed damage by another die. They'll also boost intelligence and dexterity. And that's just what they all get, but each specialization will also get its own whole suite of abilities, boosts to different stats and things. And again, like earlier before, you could stop at any of these stages and have a really valuable, functional animal companion, because just like you, it's leveling with your level. So it will keep up relatively well, especially as you start to stack those ability score points in the right places. It can be very on par on at least some of its checks with a full character. Some of the options will give you legendary fortitude saves, for example. And I think that you can go up to master defense if you use a nimble and then an ambusher. Is that it? So a lot of great uses for those animal companions, even if you don't keep investing in them. But they can really be felt if you do. So we talked a little bit about, if you give it an action. So how do those actions work? If you spend one of your actions, you can give an animal companion, any minion, you can give it 2 actions. So animal companions, they all can stride, attack, and use their support benefit. But you can also unlock additional options through leveling up through other feats for your class. Some of them will have special abilities that they unlock. They'll usually have some sort of special attack. It may not use actions, but it's usually going to be something that they have to do on their turn. In addition to that, once you reach, I believe it is advanced. So it's mature. So once you reach mature animal companion status, again, through feat investiture, once you get there, then your animal companion can take a single attack or action to either stride or strike on your turn, even if you don't spend any of your actions to command it. There's also feats that will allow you to spend more of your actions to give more to the animal. So, for example, you could with Companion's Cry for the Ranger, you can spend 2 of your actions and give the animal companion 3. So then instead of spending 1, having 2 left for you and giving 2 to the companion, you're spending 2, having 1 left for you and 2 to the companion. It's still 5 actions overall, but it gives you an option to have an animal companion that is more able to get into a position to use its support action, to make strikes, things like that. So, and there's a lot of little hacks like that for each of the classes to improve your action economy and get more bang for your buck with your animal companion. So that's sort of the crash course. There are certainly some things. Oh, one thing I do want to mention. Animal companions cannot benefit from magical items, or they can't wear most items or armor, except things that are specifically companion items. And those are going to be clearly denoted whenever they occur. There's really only a few. Most of them are animal barding, and then there's a few specific magical items that can give them some skill boosts and things like that. But there's not many. Less than 10 if you're not counting non-magical barding and stuff. So it's a small list, but it's important to note that you can't outfit an animal companion with a bunch of magic items and turn it into a super companion. It's just not going to work. It's not the design intention. There are a few that can give you a nice edge over companions that don't have them, but you definitely can't be covered in sparkling magical items with the companion. Okay, so now that is the crash course in animal companions. Again, there's a lot of specific. We could go real nitty gritty. I don't really think we need to. There's it's all going to be really unique things that scenarios that I haven't covered. This is pretty much the general standard animal companion stuff. Again, there will be feats and things that might change some mechanics or some interactions, but for the most part, this is how they work, this is how you advance them, and overall I think they're really cool. One other thing to note, for those of you who are my wonderful wife Sarah, is she said she'll never play an animal companion because she doesn't want to get an animal killed. She's very into animals, even fictitious imaginary ones. And that's great. A lot of people are. So one of the things that they've done is there are rituals and things that you can do to revive your animal companion, and they're typically a lot less intensive than those to revive a human. Or a humanoid, a living, sentient humanoid type creature, a player character, basically. So, there are options there. It's still not ideal. Your wolf friend dies right in front of you. I get it, but if that is holding you back, you may be able to, with those sort of spells, sort of feel like you can get over that and get past it and play the class if it interests you. So that's it. Animal companions. We're going to do Ranger next, hence this video. After that is Rogue. We're probably going to do a video on stealthing. Stealth and sneaking and things like that in Pathfinder 2e can get a little bit wibbly wobbly strange if you don't have a grasp of it, and who's to say I really do. But it's not as crazy as it looks, but it can cause some hiccups. So that's we're going to cover that before we do Rogue probably. And then if this is the animal companion video, you're probably wondering, hey, where is familiars? We're going to do familiars probably after Wizard, before Witch. Seems like a great place to sandwich them in. The two casters that probably get the most out of having familiars. So that's the game plan right now. Look for Ranger. We'll try to get it out soon. Thanks so much for doing this rambling. Hope you learned something about animal companions. And welcome to the collective. We'll see you next time. Bye.